Sunscreen does not cause cancer. Unless maybe it does, as according to this third-party research. But also, we know that sunscreen protects against cancer. What's going on? I ask myself this same question. As of right now, a third-party company whose job is to test different products tested a whole bunch of sunscreens, and out of 69 brands and 280 something sunscreens, they found that 27% had unhealthy levels of benzene. Benzene is a hydrocarbon. It's huge in organic chemistry. It makes up medications, it makes up gasoline, it's found in forest fires, it's found in industrial pollution. Benzene is also harmful to the human body because of the potential to cause cancer. Now, unfortunately, unhealthy levels of benzene were found in some of the sunscreens tested. 27%, that's less than 1/3. However, that is still concerning. We're gonna talk about this. We're gonna talk about what this means for you, which sunscreens have actually been found to include benzene, and how to keep yourself protected, and what I'm going to be doing, and why I'm waiting for dermatologists and other people that I trust to speak up about this who have more knowledge and more information about this than I do. So again, what happened and who are these guys? This is a company that tests products. A lot of third-party testing, consumer products, etc. And this is actually not the first time they've found benzene at unhealthy levels in consumer products. Even though benzene is outlawed, it's not allowed in toys or in home appliances, it was found in hand sanitizer. Since then, they have looked into sunscreens, as it seems that that's what they do. And yes, they found concerning things in about 70 sunscreens out of the 280 something that they tested, and they found extraordinarily concerning levels that are over 2 parts per million in 26 of those products, which yes, include Neutrogena, they include CVS, they include Sunbum, which is really expensive. Yeah, this is scary. But initially, things that come up are, okay, well, what exactly is benzene? Why is it harmful? Like, what does it do to the body? How is it absorbed? Because again, inhaling it is very different than putting it on the skin, which is very different than injecting it, which is very different than eating it, right? And then even though it's found in there, like at what concentration is actually considered harmful. This study is quoting a lot of things that say, you know, absolutely no amount is safe. However, there are workplace standards that are put in place, especially for those who work in like petroleum-based and oil-based industries, especially with gasoline. OSHA is like the Occupational Safety and Health Administration. And for people who are exposed to this normally, I believe it's less than 1 ppm part per million. I don't know if that's per day or per week, but basically it's not such a good thing, and you don't want to be inhaling it or be exposed to it on a regular basis. So knowing that about 1 part per million is what's used in like industrial settings, what was actually found in these products? Well, again, some of them were around 2 parts per million and some of them were much higher. But then that brings us back to, well, what is benzene? Benzene is carbons and hydrogens, therefore making it a hydrocarbon. And yes, it comes into play a ton when we are talking about crude oil manufacturing, gasoline, etc. Benzene is used in chemistry. It's a solvent, it's an inexpensive one, and it actually has like a mildly sweet odor. It's an aromatic hydrocarbon, which means you can smell it, and it's got a whole bunch of electrons dancing around the middle of that benzene ring. And that benzene ring, you recognize that, right? Again, one of the fundamentals of organic chemistry. So this is all around us. It makes up pretty much everything. The difference is that when benzene is connected to other things, it is not metabolized by the body in the same way, and therefore it is not carcinogenic. But when benzene on its own is out and about, yes, your body can metabolize it into harmful substances, and it can actually be detected in the urine. Unfortunately, benzene is toxic when metabolized by the human body, specifically, and animal bodies too, specifically in the liver, and then it is excreted in the urine. And fun fact, you know hydroquinone as this prescription-only cream that can help with hyperpigmentation? Yes, that is a byproduct of benzene metabolism that you look for in urine. But the hope is that we don't have to test for it, because the hope is that we are not inhaling it or ingesting it or absorbing it. With benzene specifically, it's been shown to be most harmful when it is inhaled into the lungs or ingested into the gastrointestinal unit. However, it has been shown to absorb transdermally or through the skin, and although it is not, you know, as much, it can still cause harm. The study specifically states that the IARC classifies benzene as, quote, carcinogenic to humans based on sufficient evidence that benzene causes acute myeloid leukemia. IARC also notes that benzene exposure has been linked with acute lymphocytic leukemia, chronic lymphocytic leukemia, multiple myeloma, and non-Hodgkin lymphoma. These are basically blood and bone marrow cancers. They happen in the cells that end up turning into your immune cells, and this basically stops your body from being able to fight infection because you have these like atypical, like not normal cells, and your body isn't creating the lymphocytes, or like the immune system blood cells that it needs to fight off infection. And yes, that can lead to death. Now, I want to make it clear that also not wearing sunscreen can lead to death via skin cancer. You don't want skin cancer, you don't want it to metastasize and become lymphoma as well, which can technically happen. I do want to make it clear that sunscreen is a drug. That is why it is regulated and retested, like what's happening here. And we have proof that using it prevents skin cancer among collagen degradation, premature wrinkling, hyperpigmentation, etc. Something that this company did bring up was the fact that some sunscreens, specifically the organic/chemical type, have been shown to absorb into the bloodstream. I don't even know if there's any conflict of interest or biases. You know, does this company get funding from someone like the EWG or Gwyneth Paltrow and Goop, who is going to want them to say these horrible things about sunscreen? We have to look at that and look at biases in this research. But again, I'm not the expert in that field. As of now, I'm just working with my own previous knowledge on sunscreen, cosmetic chemistry, organic chemistry, skin science, etc., and the data that has been presented through this finding. The study also goes on to quote the coral reefs, especially like some of the carcinogenic effects that benzene has on blood-related tissues in humans, especially in public health as well as the environment. It states marine ecosystems and different waterways. They do bring up the potential for sunscreens to harm coral reefs. I don't fully understand all of that either at this point. I know that chemical/organic sunscreens might harm coral reefs, but that's a big might. But also zinc-based sunscreens might harm coral reefs. And honestly, what we're doing to the planet in other ways that can contribute to global warming, or the things that we are eating and the animal waste that we're producing, that is also detrimental to marine ecosystems and coral reefs too. So it's really like, okay, which is worse? Everyone's pointing the finger at everyone else and not taking responsibility, right? But is it sunscreen's fault or is it not? I haven't researched all of these things. I don't know the intricacies of them, and that's why I am listening to experts who do. As a reminder, this same company tested hand sanitizers in August of 2020, and they found that benzene was in hand sanitizers too. Now the question is, okay, is it being put into the products, or are some of the UV blocking compounds turning into benzene? For instance, this company said, well, we have avobenzone, we have oxybenzone, we have homosalate. Like, are these basically breaking down in the formula and creating benzene? Like, maybe it wasn't put in. But they actually tested this, and they tested similar products, and they found, or concluded at least, that no, the chemical filters inside of these sunscreens were not breaking down to cause benzene to form. They are essentially saying, hey, we think that these things are contaminated in one way or another. We don't know the manufacturing process of Neutrogena and CVS sunscreens and Sunbum, among these other brands that have been called out. Was benzene part of the manufacturing process? Was it part of a solvent step and it was supposed to be gone by the time it's in the final product? Were there other oil or petroleum or crude oil byproducts inside of the sunscreen product that then carried benzene with it? Or are companies sourcing some of their sunscreen filters or other ingredients from some sketchy manufacturer who is including benzene in the formula as a way to cut cost? And if that is the case, what does that mean for our Vaseline, our petroleum jelly, right? What does this mean for our other cosmetics that also have petroleum crude oil byproducts in them, mineral oil, right? Don't know those answers, but those are all of the things that are going through my head. So at the end of the day, what does this mean for you and me? Sunscreen is technically considered a drug that prevents harm or sickness or disease, specifically skin cancer. We know that sunscreen prevents against skin cancer. We know that it prevents against sunburn, against collagen degradation, and all of these other things. We also know that some of these sunscreens were found to have benzene in them, but not all of them. Again, less than 1/3, so 27%. Am I afraid of all sunscreens? Am I gonna go running to Goop and like follow the Gwyneth Paltrow Goop cult and buy like healing stickers for my anxiety just by sticking them on my arm? No, I'm not. But simultaneously, I am not going to purchase the sunscreens that, as of right now, are on that benzene list. There, again, are a list of sunscreens that this company put out that do not contain benzene. I would say reflect and, you know, kind of lean towards those. There are other sunscreens that were not tested. A lot of the prestige brands that I love from Ulta or Sephora were not even a part of this study. Obviously, there's a lot of sunscreens out there. I think that one of the quotes was that there's like 11,000 over-the-counter products for sunscreens on the market, and you know, they tested 280 something of them. I'm not going to stop wearing my sunscreens. I'm just going to make sure that the ones that I choose are not on that list. I'm going to wait for the experts to speak. I've already called up a few dermatology friends and I'm going to be waiting and listening and asking questions. If you want me to do a follow-up, I can. Honestly, I'm waiting for Michelle of Lab Muffin Beauty Science to speak about this. I know that she's dug into a lot of different sunscreens before. She has a PhD in chemistry. I would love to see her analyze this data and kind of see what conclusions she comes to. You know, I'm saddened by this because it's not okay. It's not okay to not have safe products. At the same time, like, this is also going to give some of these pseudoscience people like Gwyneth Paltrow a whole lot of credit to run with. The EWG is gonna run with this shit. Like, they're gonna hype it up, they're gonna tell you to buy their products, they're going to fearmonger. So that is where I sit. You know that I'm going to keep on slathering my sunscreen. It's all very confusing to me, which is why I am asking the questions, I am listening. And if you want an update, let me know. I can also just link some of the experts down in the description, and when they do speak about this, hopefully you'll see it on their feeds. Yeah, this sucks. But you know what? It's the truth, and I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. I'm not gonna make it sweet the way benzene smells and tastes. So, I love you, beautiful butterflies. I hope you found this insightful. Maybe I'll put updates in the comments or in another video. I don't know, maybe I'll put them on Instagram. I will see you on the internet sometime soon. Love you guys. Bye.